So the chapter was like anti-amoebic drug. So amoeba we already know that it's a protozoa and they are the unicellular organism, right? So they are the unicellular organism and they are a protozoa and they have pseudopod. So this is the particular structure you can see. We have in amoeba we have the nuclei, edges of the sucker, the median body, their exosystole is there, trophozoite is there, flagella is there. This trophozoite, this is the trophozoite form. Otherwise, in cyst form also is there. This is the older cyst and this is the young cyst. Trophozoite gets to the intestinal mucosa, invade and infect, and later and then converts to cyst again, which is passed into feces. We'll see the whole cycle later on. So they are the drug which anti-amoebic are the drugs which are useful for the infection caused by protozoa, especially the Entamoeba histolytica. Then we have the epidemiology. Epidemiology says that approximately 48 million individuals they suffer from this amoeba or Entamoeba histolytica throughout the world, and then at least 40,000 people they die because of this type of infection every year. And this is the third among the parasitic causes of death after malaria and schistosomiasis. Then we have Entamoeba histolytica pathogenesis, where we'll see that what form it will infect and then how it will be converted to another form and then again passed out. So it's a waterborne pathogen, and then amoebiasis is a waterborne disease caused by pathogen which is waterborne and transmitted by the fecal oral route. They exist in two forms: cyst form and trophozoite form. Cyst form and trophozoite form. These cyst form these are the dormant form and they can survive outside the body. Inside they are in some other form. Whereas trophozoite, they are the dividing form. They are the dividing form and these are the dormant form. Dividing form, they are usually non-infective and do not exist outside the body. Inside only it exists, and then it again converts to cyst and then passes out from the feces. So what is the pathway? Ingested cyst reaches the colon and then it transforms to trophozoite. It forms amoebic ulcer or chronic amoebic dysentery it causes, or they get converted to cyst and then passes on to the stool, and they may live as commensal organisms. Then we have, this is the whole cycle, life cycle, where the cyst is there initially outside the body, and then this cyst with unhygienic nature or unhygienic way, it will be ingested inside the body, goes inside, and then it will infect. It may infect the extraintestinal organs like liver, lungs, and brain and causes abscess. Then it will be passed upon to the feces in the cyst and trophozoite form, and then again it will be ready for infecting others. So this extraintestinal infection will cause abscess, and these are the infective stage where I is written this under this triangle. They are the infective stage. These are the diagnostic stage. Whereas A, this is the non-invasive colonization. This one, the colon. Intestinal disease, it causes intestines, and the extraintestinal diseases in the liver and lungs and brain. So excitation occurs here, it converts to trophozoite, and then multiplication occurs, then converts again to cyst and then passes on to the feces. Here you need to remember is that the organ, extraintestinal organ in there is only a presence of trophozoite, not cyst. Okay. So what are the available drugs? The drugs available are like tissue amoebicides and the liminal amoebicide. Intestinal and extraintestinal. Tissue amoebicide is further divided into intestinal and extraintestinal. In that group is there nitroimidazole, where we have metronidazole, tinidazole, secnidazole, ornidazole, citronidazole as examples. Alkaloids are also there, emetine and dihydroemetine. Emetine, this group of drugs are not much in use nowadays. For extraintestinal disease, chloropine is there. So whenever there is extraintestinal invasion, we need to give chloropine. and then liminal amibicide should be given. We will see the regimen later on. Among liminal amibicide, amides are there, in which diloxanide furet is the example, 8-hydroxyquinoline dihydroxyquine is the example, and antibiotic tetracyclines are the example. Hope you remember tetracyclines. Then we have the first group of drug, and metronidazole will take as the prototype drug. So metronidazole, this was originally discovered for the treatment of trichomoniasis in 1959. This is a broad spectrum having a cidal activity against the protozoas like Entamoeba histolytica, vaginalis, and Giardia lamblia. So you can see this structure over here. Anaerobic bacteria is also like Physalis, and then Preferences, then Pylori and Clostridium difficile are also it is effective against. That's the very reason why it is one of the drug in the treatment of H. pylori regimen. Resistance, there is no significant resistance for Entamoeba histolytica till now, but it has developed for Taenia vaginalis. So what is the mechanism of action of metronidazole? This has the selective toxicity for anaerobic organism. So remember, you need to remember over here, it has selective toxicity for the anaerobic organism, and this especially infects this pathway, pyruvate ferredoxin oxidoreductase pathway, which is very unique pathway for the anaerobes, and when it affects, that means it will be affecting only anaerobes. This particular oxidoreductase pathway, where there is utilization of pyruvate to acetyl CoA by this reductase enzyme, converts to oxidoferredoxin to reduce ferredoxin, and then here there is involvement of NAD+, which converts to NADH, oxidized DNA and protein is released. In that, there is generation of ATP and other metabolic function through the transfer of electron, and that very pathway is inhibitor of the law. So we'll see here, entry into the microorganism happens of what? Of metronidazole by diffusion, and there after diffusion, there it releases nitro group, and this nitro group is reduced to nitro radicals, which are highly reactive and they are cytotoxic, and they act as electron acceptor. In that way, the whole pathway is blocked or interfered with. This reduced metronidazole or nitro radicals is cytotoxic, as I told, to anaerobic bacteria protozoa and disrupts. So important here, it is disrupts replication, transcription, and a repair process of DNA that ultimately result in cell death. Pharmacokinetic of metronidazole. This is well absorbed from the small intestine, widely distributed in body secretion, vaginal secretion, semen, saliva, and CSF. So it is mostly available. It is mostly secreted in all type of secretions. Metabolized in liver by oxidation and gluconidation, and half-life is 8 hours. The most common adverse effects are nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramp, and metallic taste. Important over here is metallic taste. You need to remember this is specific adverse effect for metronidazole. Less frequent is headache, glossitis, rashes, dryness of mouth. On prolonged administration, we can see peripheral neuropathy, CNS effect, and seizure is seen at higher dose. Where this drug should not be given, the first trimester of pregnancy it should not be given, though the data are not very encouraging, but to be safer inside, this is not the drug to be given at least in the first trimester of pregnancy. Neurological disease, blood dyskaryosis and all that should not be given, and chronic alcoholism should not be given this time. Hope you remember the disulfiram reaction, right? In that also, this drug also gives such type of reaction, disulfiram reaction. That you need to remember. Whenever metronidazole you give, you need to inquire about the alcoholic behavior of the person. If the person is chronic alcoholic, the person should not be given. Otherwise, disulfiram like intolerance will appear because of the inhibition of the enzyme dehydrogenase, which causes the increased concentration of acetaldehyde, leading to the unpleasant symptoms like flushing, burning sensation, throbbing headache, perspiration, dizziness, vomiting, visual disturbance, mental confusion, fainting, and circulatory collapse. Otherwise, the enzyme inducers like phenobarbital or rifampicin should not be given along with drug. Otherwise, there will be induction of enzymes leading to increased metabolism of metronidazole and then causes the reduced therapeutic effect of this drug. So, it should not be combined along with the enzyme inducers too. Here, the drug interaction like metronidazole with alcohol is very important. So what are the uses? Metronidazole is used in amoebiasis. It kills entamoeba histolytic trophozoite, but not cyst. Again, that's important. It will kill trophozoite, but not cyst. Treatment of all tissue infection with entamoeba histolytica is necessary and no effect against a luminal parasite. So it will not affect the luminal parasite. So we should be giving luminal amoebicide for eradication. Otherwise, also it is effective against giardiasis, trichomonas vaginalis, anaerobic infections, pseudomembranous enterocolitis, ulcerative gingivitis, and Helicobacter pylori. Then we have other nitroimidazole group like tinidazole, secnidazole, ornidazole, cetronidazole. They basically will have the same mechanism of action, only the way it will be different is the pharmacokinetic parameter. Tinidazole is having a slower metabolism and the duration of action is longer, 12 hours on single dose. It is better tolerated and very less incidence of side effect is there among this group of drug. Secnidazole having the rapid absorption but slower metabolism, half-life is very large, very long, which is 17 to 29 hours. Ornidazole is also 12 to 24 hours. Cetronidazole is 14 hours of half-life, and this is a better tolerated cetronidazole. Plus, there is no nausea, vomiting, and metallic taste. There is no disulfiram-like reaction and neurological symptoms. So, when you need to give anti-amoebic drug from this group, we need to prefer cetronidazole, which can be given to chronic alcoholic also, and metallic taste is not the adverse effect. Next is the alkaloids like amethine and dihydroamethine. They are derived from Syphilis ipecacuanha, and dihydroamethine is a synthetic analog of amethine. This is natural and this is synthetic analog of amethine, and they are active against tissue trophozoite and entamoeba histolytica. How do they act? They inhibit the protein synthesis. They inhibit the protein synthesis of amoeba. They are administered subcutaneously preferred or intramuscularly, but IV should not be given. Should not be given IVP. Because oral preparation can be given, but they are absorbed non-reliable way, and a very erratic absorption is there, and vomiting can be seen. They are very less used nowadays, as I told earlier, also because of the presence of better drug, and when there is a severe intestinal extra-intestinal amoebiasis, then it can be given, or the patient who are not responding to other group of drug, then this group of drug can be given. Amethyns, what are the adverse effects? It includes the local stimulation like pain or tenderness in the area of injection, gastrointestinal tract discomfort like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal cramp can be seen. Neuromuscular blockade like muscle weakness and discomfort can be there, and cardiac toxicity like arrhythmia, congestive heart failure, hypotension, ECG changes may be seen as the cardiac toxicity of emitting of drug. Then we have the next very drug, which is chloroquine. It kills trophozoites of Entamoeba histolytica. It kills trophozoite of Entamoeba histolytica. It concentrates in liver. It gets concentrated in liver and used in hepatic amoebiasis. This is completely absorbed from upper intestine, and they are not effectively invasive or luminal dysentery. In case of luminal, it won't be effective. That is the reason why chloroquine should be combined with luminal amebicide. These are used after a course of metronidazole, but a luminal amebicide must be added. That's what I say. Dose is 500 milligram twice daily for initial 2 days, and then 500 milligram once daily for 21 days. Then we have the luminal amebicide tioxanide furoate. It kills trophozoite responsible for production of cyst. So if you remember, the cyst gets converted to trophozoite, and then trophozoite gets converted to cyst and then passes on to the feces. So this group of drug will cause the killing of trophozoite. When trophozoites are not there, then it will not be, the production of cyst will not be there. And if cyst is not there, the cyst cannot be passed on to feces, and then it will not be infecting others. These are not effective against tissue trophozoite. Only luminal trophozoite it will be. So what is the mechanism of action? Oral diloxanide furoate is given, which is hydrolyzed to furoate, and diloxanide is free. From here, 90% of diloxanide is absorbed, this free tea. 90% of diloxanide is absorbed. Remaining 10% reaches to the large intestine, where it exerts effect by killing the trophozoites. Absorbed diloxanide, they produces very low serum level, and there is no therapeutic effect. What are the uses? There is mild tissue amoebiasis, asymptomatic cyst passers, and tissue amoebiasis and liver abscess with metronidazole. Adverse drug reaction, they are well tolerated. Only flatulence, nausea, itching, and rarely urticaria will be seen. Then we have 8-hydroxyquinolines. Drug like iodoquinol is there. They act against Entamoeba, Giardia, Trichomonas, and some fungi and bacteria also. They kill the cyst-forming trophozoite. Trophozoite present in the intestinal wall or extraintestinal tissue. Half-life is 12 hours. An adverse drug reaction is, it is well tolerated drug. Only nausea is there, green stool, pruritus, etc. is there, plus iodism is also there. But subacute myelooptic neuropathy is also there, and the inflammation. This is the inflammation of optic nerve causing a complete or partial loss of vision, and also peripheral neuropathy. The treatment of Trichomonas vaginatis, metronidazole can be given, tenidazole can be given, metronidazole 400 milligram 3 times a day for 7 days, or 2 gram single dose. Tenidazole 600 milligram can be given BD for 7 days, or 2 gram as a single dose. Should be repeated after 6 weeks. Additional intravaginal treatment for refractory cases should be given, and resistance has been reported towards this, and both partners should be treated. Local application should also be encouraged. Use of clotrimazole, natamycin, and povidone can be think of. Then coming to the leishmaniasis. This is the visceral leishmaniasis, or it's also known as Kala-Azar, caused by Leishmania donovani. And then these are transmitted by the bite of female sandfly of the genus Phlebotomus. Intracellular is known as mastigote, whereas extracellular is known as promastigote. What is the available drug for this leishmaniasis? We have antimalarial drugs like sodium stipogluconate, diamide like pentamidine, antifungal like amphotericin B, ketoconazole, and others like mifepristone, paramomycin, and allopurinol. Sodium stipogluconate and meglumine antimonate. The drugs of choice in the leishmaniasis. Some resistance may be seen. There is water-soluble pentavalent antimonial compound production. What is the mechanism of action? It induces a rapid efflux of glutathione. So if glutathione will be effluxed out, and tryptophan from protozoal cell and inhibit tryptophan reductase, resulting in decrease in this and glutathione level, as well as the loss of thiol reduction potential necessary for cellular function. So basically what happens is, because of this drug, there is a flux of glutathione and tryptophan. These are very important substances for the survival or cellular function of the organism, and that is why when these are effluxed out, the cellular function cannot be proceeded. This drug may produce gastric irritation, and that is why they are administered through IV and intramuscular route. These drugs are eliminated in two phases. The first short half-life, 2 hours, while the second has much longer half-life of more than 30 hours. There is conversion to Sb5 plus and Sb3 plus metabolite, and Sb3 plus metabolite are sequestrated in macrophages and consumed, and this is responsible for prolonged action. The adverse drug reaction are like nausea, vomiting, metallic taste, cough and pain, abdomen, stiffness, abscess in the injected muscles, pancreatitis, liver and kidney damage, etc. Rarely it causes shock and death. Next we have pentamidine. Mechanism of action: it binds with the protozoal DNA and inhibit the DNA replication. So replication of the DNA will be stopped by binding with DNA. Toxicity will include some manifestations because of the release of histamine. They may cause a sharp fall in blood pressure, dyspnea, palpitation, fainting, vomiting, and rigor when in supine position. Systolic cytolysis of pancreatic beta cells, initially insulin release hypoglycemia, but later insulin dependent diabetes mellitus can be seen. Miltefosine is another drug. It's alkyl phosphocholine analog, which is recently introduced for the treatment of visceral and cutaneous leishmaniasis. So remember this new drug, miltefosine. Dose is 100 milligrams, should be given for 28 long days. Mechanism of action: it inhibits key enzymes involved in metabolism of surface glycolipids found in leishmania species. So the enzymes which are responsible for metabolism of glycolipids, which is a very important cellular part, that is inhibited and affects the leishmaniasis. Orally, these are well absorbed, and plasma half-life is around 8 days. Adverse drug reaction will include nausea and vomiting, transient elevation in liver enzyme, and it has hemolytic activity. It should not be given intravenously. And this was all about the anti-amoebic drug and an anti-leishmaniasis. So what we saw is the drugs which are used in amoebiasis against Entamoeba histolytica. Here the tissue amoebicide chloroquine or the metronidazole is very important. This that can come as short notes, or usually this longer question is not expected from this very chapter. But metronidazole per se is very important. Apart from that, chloroquine you should be going through it. And the regimen you can remember when the extra-intestinal should be given and why the liminal amoebicide should be given when we give extra-intestinal amoebicide. So thank you so much for today's class.